To his election, he served 12 years in the state senate and is now Mississippi's 36th Secretary of State. Born and raised in Pascagoula, Mississippi, Secretary Watson is a graduate of Pascagoula High School, the University of Mississippi, and the University of Mississippi School of Law. He is the husband to Lauren and the dad to three beautiful girls, Gracie Pierce, Anna, and Corey Elizabeth. And I must tell you, in his bio, that's the first thing he says, that his first job as husband and father, and says a lot about Michael Watson. The proud son of working class parents from Jackson County, Secretary Watson is a rising star as a public service and public servant in service to Mississippi. And we're just so glad that he's South Mississippi. He supports Southern Miss along the coast and Hattiesburg and throughout the state. Welcome, Secretary Watson.
Thank you, Doc. I can talk a lot about Southern Miss. I've actually with the coach crew last week. You are doing some incredible things. My dad is a pastor, so I like to move. If y'all don't mind, where the saints are ringing. I'll get close to you. So this is a really good day, not just because of this, but on the way here, I'm running a little bit late. And I love the cheeseburger just up the road here at Shady Acres. Anybody had one? So this is how I knew this is going to be a good day. I'm running late. Liz is wearing me out. Liz Johnson, she's done a great job with this, but I'm running late. This is wearing me out. Like, look, I'm close to Shady Acres. I'm getting a cheeseburger. I'll be late for this event for this cheeseburger, so I get a cheeseburger. I called a little bit late. Usually I call kind of at the second red light coming south. I won't bore you with the details. But I called a little bit late. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to get there and wait. And I'm going to be really late for this. And Liz is going to be really mad. I walk in and they say, to go order for Michael. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the Lord is working in mysterious ways. I'm supposed to be here on time. And that's kind of funny, but I want to tell you this. The Lord is all over this. When we talk about human trafficking, it was something that really came to my mind, or came to my introduction in the legislature. I served in the state senate for 12 years, and kind of halfway through there, somewhere there, I had some ladies come and said, look, we want to sit down and talk to you about human trafficking. And I said, well, we can talk about it, but human trafficking is in Las Vegas, in LA, in New York. It's not really here in the city. And they said, oh, that's where you're wrong. And that's why we want to go see you. Okay, fine, let's talk about it. So they walked through the process of kind of what they had done to do their research. And they gave me examples of things that they had seen in Mississippi. And the worst one was a grandfather in Lincoln County who had been using his granddaughter for drug money, familial trafficking. And it shook me to the core as a father of little girls. Good gracious, how in the world is it even possible? But with that in mind, what is it that I can do to step forward and work on this, to bring this to light, to strengthen our laws in Mississippi, to make sure the Mississippians are aware this is going on and we can't do it by ourselves, we got to do this together. And so working in the legislature, working on some legislation, we kind of moved the ball forward there. I was really excited about it, working with Speaker Gunn, but we left the legislature and handed Secretary of State's office. And I thought, look, this is an issue that I don't want to leave behind. This is something really important. So what can we do in the Secretary of State's office to help bring this forward? And so obviously one of the things that we do is business services. We touch a lot of businesses across the state. And we started researching around the country, and we saw Texas did TBAT, Texas Businesses Against Trafficking. We saw Iowa, MBAT. In other states, they had their Secretary of State's office because they are so plugged into the business community. That's what they launched. So we thought, we're going to do that here. And so I've gathered our Southeastern Conference Secretaries of State and have invited all of them to join us with our MBAT. They'll be launching theirs coming forward. But it's really an effort that all of us can do together. And so people say, oh, Michael, what exactly is MBAT? So MBAT is Mississippi Businesses Against Trafficking. And basically it's a statewide platform. And so if you go to our website, you can go on there, you'll see education materials. We've got over 100 businesses that have signed up already. I see a great crowd here. So we're going to have more businesses sign up, right, after this. But it's really a location for training, for other materials. There's some modules on there to make sure what is human trafficking. Some people don't really understand what it is. It can be labor, it can be sex, it can be different things. But what is human trafficking? How do I identify? What are the signs that I need to look for? And once I see those things, to whom do I report it? So it's really from A to Z. what does this look like, and how can I train my employees to see it? We've got some great partners here today. Y'all hear from them a little bit later on our round table. But that's kind of where MBAT, what it was, what it is, and what we're trying to do. So we thought, look, training is one thing that you can get online and print some forms off and read and watch videos. But we need some in-person training as well. So I don't know about y'all, but I love to have a team. I love to have people around me because I may have missed something in the presentation, and well, my friend here picked it up, so she can remind me or he can remind me. We're all learning this thing together. You may have a question that I have, but I may not be brave enough to ask it, and you will, so then I can learn. So in-person learning is really important. And that is where these wonderful people down here come into play. And when I say the Lord is all over this, and I'm not here to preach to you, but we launched this last year. We started thinking, look, how do we grow this? How do we build this? And I got a little bird in my ear that said something about USM. And the human trafficking studies, the awareness, the resource, the training that they're doing here, and I thought, man, that's perfect timing. We're not the experts. We can't really teach this, but I know who can. And so we're going to introduce you to our friends here later as well. But not just that, and this is where the other thing that I love about this. This isn't about the Secretary of State's office. This isn't about us. One of the things that I hate about government is you see these silos that grow. And what the Secretary of State's doing, then the AG can't do it, or the government can't do it, or the LG can't do it. That's crazy. That's nuts. So I'm excited to have MBI here, to have the AG's office here, to have other agencies, USM. It takes all of us. When we can break those silos down, it's not about us, but it's about the greater good. That's when good things happen. So I love seeing the summit come together and all the players that are here. We're going to introduce you to those as we move forward. One of our first ones is pitch hitting today. My friend Colonel Haynes was not able to make it, but Lieutenant Guy Collins is here. He's with MBI. He's going to tell you a little bit about the training here and the importance of education. So, Guy.
Appreciate it. I'll walk around even though I wasn't a Baptist preacher's son. So in MBI, which is Mississippi Highway Patrol Bureau of Investigation, we have a unit that's dedicated to combating these heinous crimes. And it's called the Special Victims Unit. It's appropriately named. I started doing this in 2018, started investigating these crimes. It was myself and one other officer that were full-time dedicated to it in the state. And now we have task forces all across the state. A large part of MBI's success, period, is to Ashley Lucas, who's the human trafficking coordinator for the state of Mississippi. When she came on board with MBI, there were just 2 of us, and now there's 5. Now, that's not enough. The AG's office has 3, and we have 5. But we work very closely together. We're dedicated to partnering with anybody who wants to combat this crime. The Center for Human Trafficking Awareness and Training, Research and Training, sorry, at Southern Miss, the AG's office, anybody else who will work with us to do this. We have task forces all across the state. The first of which was actually in Hattiesburg, if you didn't know that. It was called the Pine Belt Human Trafficking Task Force. And I'm so proud to remember that. The Tower, which is the Center for Violence Prevention's survivor care of human trafficking, they assist with the victims' advocacy of these victims. And MBI, we are dedicated to prosecuting those people who traffic human beings for sure, but we find it much more beneficial of a cause, and as important, if not more important, to be victim-centered. You'll hear that a lot today. Trauma-informed and victim-centered. And we consider an operation of ours a success if we recover victims and offer them victim services. Now we can't force them to take the services, but we can certainly make them readily available. We don't prosecute what you will refer to, what you won't refer to after the day as a prostitute, someone who's prostituting their own body. We don't even charge for that. We just bring the people in and try to offer them services. And that's our goal, is to give survivor care. And it's funny when you start working in this world of human trafficking, anybody who's dedicated to it has a passion for it, or they get out of it pretty quickly. And it's something, once you see the heinousness of the crime, you realize, just like Secretary of State was saying, you see somebody who's been pimped out by their grandfather, what do you want more for them than to offer them help and say, there's another way of life? We do a ton of training, and it may not be obvious right now, but I do a lot of training with people, and I do a lot of public speaking. We have 8-hour courses that we do on this. I could talk forever on it. Again, I'm sorry that Colonel Haynes wasn't here to address you. He's been predisposed, but he would echo everything that I'm saying. It's also interesting when you talk about large. I'm going to refer to the Department of Public Safety as a corporation. When you refer to corporations, most of the time you don't have, when you're, especially in law enforcement, when you're combating a crime, you usually don't have from the top down their support. It usually breaks the chain at some point, and everybody's not quite as committed to them. And I can say for the Department of Public Safety, from the commissioner down, we have their full support. And they feel the same way that I do passionately about the cause of recovering human trafficking victims and offering services. Child exploitation, online exploitation, we work all the times, which you'll hear a lot more about today, I'm sure. But thanks for letting me pinch it, and I look forward to hearing the rest of it. And well, thank you for being here.
That was much better than Colonel Haynes. I'll make sure he's aware. Colonel Haynes is a good dude. He looks like Toby Bryant, so if you ever see him, you won't miss him. We're going to move on to our first education piece here. And before we get there, I want to let you know something. We saw some 21 numbers. We don't have 22 yet. Obviously, the year just closed. But there were several arrests made by both the MBAT, Attorney General's Office, human trafficking in Mississippi. The key to point out here is in those arrests, there were more than 10 missing children that were found. It's something in politics when you get to the Capitol, you talk about policy, you talk about, R's and D's, and you talk about the policy pieces up in the sky. But when you see something on the ground that you just helped save 10 little lives, you are here saving lives today, whether you know it or not. When you recognize these symptoms, when you recognize these, hey, I think that looks like human trafficking, and I'm going to call somebody to do something about it. You might very well be finding a missing child. You might very well be returning a mother to her daughter. You never know what you're doing, but you're saving lives. That's the important piece here. So as we move into our panel, I hope that you understand the gravity of this. This isn't just politics. This is life-altering information. So please listen as closely as you can. Now, I told you earlier we were talking about training and the in-person piece, and we are not the experts by any means, but we do have two experts here. So I'm excited to bring my print documentary way to the podium if you want to now. But we've got two here who are superstars. They're the co-directors here at USM, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. For the Center for Human Trafficking Research and Training, we've got Dr. Hogan. In a good wave. She's an assistant professor here at School of Social Work. She's got her PhD from Arizona State. She was affiliated with the Global Association of Human Trafficking Scholars, previously on the faculty at Arizona State, and she was the director for the Arizona State University Office of Sex Trafficking Intervention Research. So she knows what she's talking about. The next doctor is going to be talking to us, also School of Social Work here at USM, and co-director of the Center for Human Trafficking Research and Training. And she's got a PhD from the University of Georgia, so go Dogs. They're home of national thinkings. They are really glad they did not come to Hattiesburg to the Rock. I understand that, right? Or this, so she was appointed to Governor Phil Bryant's task force on human trafficking in 2015, and she chaired the Human Trafficking Council subcommittee for strategic planning and trafficking protocol. So this is basically an interdisciplinary collaboration of researchers, trafficking survivors, and students, gathering data, making sure that we understand, hey, what is it that we can learn from these numbers to help us pinpoint our activities, our focus on making sure that we rid Mississippi of human trafficking, And recently, one of the things that they did, they don't, I guess you know this now, but we saw some stats. We were reading about some human trafficking kind of coming into this, prepping for it. And there was an article that we saw, we thought, I'm not sure if that's true or not. Oh, you know who we can ask? Right here. So if you ever have questions about information that you see, we have our resident expert right here in Mississippi. So we're excited to learn from them today. And I told them coming in, these are the real stars here. It's not me, it's not anybody else. These are the ones that are going to teach us what we need to be looking for, how we as business people can recognize some tracking and what we can do after that. So Dr. Hogan, Dr. Hurst, thank you for letting us be a small part of your world today. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Secretary Watson. I feel like I don't even know how to react to all that. That was wonderful introduction, so thank you. I appreciate it. Even though you threw a little shade at my dogs, but I'll be okay with that. Yes, we are a Paradox. We are working with the School of Social Work here at USM. We both love the work that we do. We're so thrilled when Dr. Hogan interviewed with the School of Social Work and she said human trafficking, and I'm like, oh, yes, thank you. So I am Dr. Tamara Hurst. I am with the School of Social Work. I've been here for about 10 years and I'm an associate professor there. And then this is my partner, Dr. Kimberly Hogan. And so today we are bringing you information shortly about human trafficking, the definitions, so we can all get on the same playing field, a level playing field of how we are talking about things. We're going to talk a little bit about how we can present this in the media, maybe the messaging that we get back from it, maybe that's misinformation. Then we're going to talk a little bit about what we can do.